Looking at some say Frank Gray has lived a sad life, but that couldn't be further from the truth. While many remember him primarily as Eddie Gray's younger brother, or point to his brief managerial career, Frank Gray's professional life tells a completely different story of remarkable achievement and individual success that deserves proper recognition. The narrative that Frank Gray lived perpetually in his brother's shadow simply doesn't match the facts. Born in Castlemilk, Glasgow, on October the 27th, 1954, Frank shared his older brother Eddie's early passion for football. Both brothers were Glasgow Schools representatives and schoolboy internationals, and despite their shared childhood dream of playing for Celtic, it was Don Revie and Leeds United who ultimately captured their talent. Frank joined Leeds in the summer of 1970 after the club secured his signature in the face of competition from approximately 30 other clubs, demonstrating just how highly regarded his potential was even at that young age. Frank turned professional in November 1971, marking the beginning of what would become a truly decorated career. His early integration into the Leeds squad came at a time when the legendary Don Revie was seeking to replenish his ageing team, with Gray identified as one of the bright young stars alongside players like Gordon McQueen and Joe Jordan, who were tasked with maintaining the high standards of the Revie era. Frank's early days at Elland Road saw him integrated into a team in transition. He made his debut on February the 10th, 1973, in a league defeat at Leicester City, and scored on his first full start against Crystal Palace on April the 21st, 1973. While Leeds famously won the league championship in the 1973-74 season with a 29-game unbeaten start, Frank's contribution was limited to just 3 appearances, insufficient for him to qualify for a winner's medal. This small but significant detail foreshadowed how his contributions would often be overlooked, but it certainly wasn't the end of his story. The 1975 European Cup final defeat to Bayern Munich provided another notable chapter in this period. Gray featured in a match that was marred by what many considered dubious refereeing decisions. This experience of competing at the highest level of European football, even in defeat, demonstrated that Frank was already establishing himself as a player capable of performing on the biggest stages in world football. The most decisive period for Frank Gray came with his departure from Leeds United. In July 1979, Leeds received a then-club record fee of £500,000 for his transfer to Nottingham Forest. If you're enjoying learning about Frank's remarkable journey and want to see more content celebrating overlooked football legends, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. This move to the City ground was a professional watershed moment, allowing him to forge his own identity under the management of Brian Clough, who was clearly impressed with his abilities. This wasn't a step down, but a move to the reigning European champions, a team that had just captured the greatest trophy in club football. Under Clough, Frank Gray enjoyed the most successful years of his club career. He scored 5 goals in 81 league games with Nottingham Forest, showcasing not just his defensive abilities, but also his capacity to contribute in the final third. His time at Nottingham Forest culminated in the most significant honour of his professional life, a European Champion Club's Cup Winners' Medal in 1980. He added a UEFA Super Cup Winners' Medal that same year, in addition to being a runner-up in the League Cup and Intercontinental Cup. These achievements represent the pinnacle of club football success and were a powerful counter-narrative to any suggestion that he lacked the talent to succeed at the highest level. What makes Frank's individual merit even more compelling is his international career with Scotland. Frank Gray earned 32 caps for Scotland, scoring 1 goal on March the 23rd, 1982, in a match against Holland. This total far surpassed his brother Eddie's 12 caps for the national team, providing clear evidence of Frank's superior international recognition. Frank's international standing was further cemented by his participation in the 1982 World Cup in Spain, an honour that stands as a definitive and unassailable measure of his individual prowess on the world stage. His playing style was consistently praised throughout his career. Frank was described as having speed, being a superb passer, and reading the game with intelligence. He was naturally gifted, and things came easy to him due to his natural abilities. His durability and consistency are evident in his career statistics, which demonstrate sustained excellence across multiple clubs. 327 league appearances for Leeds United, 81 league games for Nottingham Forest, 146 league appearances for Sunderland, and 85 total games for Darlington. His goal-scoring record, while not spectacular, was respectable for a defender, with 27 goals for Leeds United alone. After his successful tenure at Nottingham Forest, Frank accepted an invitation from former teammate Alan Clark to return to Leeds United in May 1981 for £300,000. This return marked the beginning of a difficult chapter for both the club and Frank personally. Leeds United were relegated in his first season back at Elland Road, a disappointing outcome that highlighted the club's decline from their glory days under Don Revie. The subsequent firing of Alan Clark paved the way for a deeply complex dynamic, the appointment of Eddie Gray as the club's new manager. For 4 years, the younger Gray played under his brother's stewardship as they attempted to guide Leeds back to the First Division. This period created a new kind of shadow, one defined not by a lack of talent, but by a shared struggle and the weight of their family name. Despite their best efforts and mutual dedication to the club, promotion wasn't achieved during their time together, creating a professional intersection that was both unique and challenging. Following his second spell at Leeds, Frank moved to Sunderland in 1985 for £100,000, where he continued to demonstrate his quality and leadership. He helped them gain promotion from Division 3 in the 1987-88 season, proving that his abilities remained intact, even in the later stages of his playing career. He concluded his playing days at Darlington, where he was appointed player assistant manager and helped them win the GM Vauxhall Conference in 1990, steering them back to the 4th Division and marking a successful transition into coaching responsibilities. The transition from highly successful player to head coach proved challenging for Frank Gray. His managerial career included brief tenures at clubs, including Darlington, Farnborough Town, Grays Athletic, Woking, and Basingstoke Town, with an average managerial tenure of just 1.38 years. While he did help Farnborough Town reach the Nationwide Conference South playoffs in the 2005-2006 season, his appointments were generally short-lived and failed to produce a sustained track record of success. Research suggests this stark contrast between his playing and managerial careers might be explained by his natural gifts as a player. For someone who found playing came naturally, the meticulous breakdown of concepts, tactical obsession, and ability to instill competitive spirit in players who may not share the same innate talent presented different challenges. The very ease with which he played the game might have paradoxically made it harder for him to coach others who required more structured development. Another factor that may have affected perceptions of Frank's post-playing profile is the existence of several other notable individuals named Frank Gray. There's a respected professor, missionary, and broadcaster, a prominent figure in the Houston, Texas real estate market who founded his own brokerage, and most famously, a physicist and inventor who created the Gray Code at Bell Labs. These separate and in some cases highly significant legacies contribute to the dispersal of the footballer's public profile, making his own post-playing career appear less prominent in the broader public consciousness. Despite his managerial challenges, Frank remained deeply involved in football. He spent time as a scout for clubs like Blackburn Rovers and Sheffield Wednesday and served as an academy coach at Southampton. These roles represent a quiet but significant contribution to the sport, focusing on player development and talent identification rather than the high-pressure world of first-team management. His continued involvement demonstrates a lasting commitment to football that extends far beyond his playing days. The comparison between Frank and Eddie Gray reveals fascinating asymmetry in their respective achievements. While Eddie's status at Leeds United is almost unparalleled, with 577 total games and a reputation as one of the most stylish wingers in English football, Frank's list of international and European accolades provides a compelling counter-argument to suggestions of inferiority. His European Cup triumph and World Cup participation are achievements that stand on their own merit, demonstrating success that a singular focus on the Leeds narrative often obscures. Frank Gray's career statistics paint the picture of a durable and technically gifted player who performed at the highest level for over a decade. His 32 international caps represent more than double his brother's international recognition, while his European honours place him among an elite group of English football players. The European Cup winners' medal alone represents an achievement that relatively few players in football history can claim, putting him in exclusive company with some of the game's greatest names. The professional narrative of Frank Gray is far from sad or unremarkable. His story demonstrates that sporting legacies aren't always defined by public mythology, but by tangible accomplishments and steadfast dedication. His willingness to seek success outside the familial comfort of Leeds United, his triumph with Nottingham Forest under the demanding Brian Clough, and his extensive international career all speak to a player who carved out his own distinct and successful path in professional football. Rather than living in anyone's shadow, Frank Gray created his own legacy through consistent performance at the highest levels of football across multiple decades. His European Cup triumph, extensive international career, and ability to perform successfully at several different clubs provide powerful evidence of individual excellence that deserves recognition independent of family comparisons or later managerial challenges. If you want to discover more stories about football legends whose achievements deserve greater recognition, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with fellow football fans who appreciate the full story behind the game's unsung heroes. Frank Gray's life represents quiet competence and significant achievement, demonstrating that true success in football isn't always measured by public adoration or media attention, but by a collection of tangible and enduring accomplishments that stand the test of time and speak to a career of genuine distinction and professional excellence.